All right, so back to the basement, back to training this week. Just kind of going to have a deload, playing around with some box squats today to a bench, and I'm enjoying it so far, but I want to talk about my last video and my competition. And before I get to the actual thoughts on the competition, I first want to say a very big thank you to both my wife, aka the Beyonce, aka Amanda, and my brother-in-law Brian for filming all those clips that you saw in the last video. I really do appreciate them doing that for me. I also appreciate everyone who reached out to me both on here and Facebook and other social media ways just to say, hey, you'll be there and you'll film, or people who actually came up to me at the meet and said, hey, I don't mind taking some film of you if you want it. Now, don't get me wrong, anytime I can show you my meat, I'm gonna do it. But the problem for me is, or not the problem, my focus going into these things is to lift. I mean, this is what I train for. I don't train to make YouTube videos. I train because I want to get stronger and I want to perform well in these competitions. And when I go to the competitions, that's really what I'm focused on. I don't want to worry about setting up my camera, or is it going to be a good enough angle? Is someone in the way? How's the sound? I really don't care about that. That's kind of just an added bonus for me. But I must say I do also appreciate everyone who commented or liked my last video, because there were a lot of you out there and I really do appreciate the support. I know this isn't necessarily a fancy channel with good edits, or I don't show you that much of my life besides in this steel rack that you see before you, but I do appreciate everyone who had kind words to say, and hopefully I was able to respond to all your comments. I think I did. If I didn't, let me know, and I'll admit I'm an asshole, but I'm pretty sure I didn't miss anybody. That being said, though, there were some comments in there that I want to address, and then I'll just talk about all three lifts really briefly. There's not much more to say on them. Don't want to push this into any more videos than I have to. I think by far and away, the biggest comment that I saw was about my last name. So my last name is not Campbell, it is Diamond. I made a video on this in the past, but Diamond is my last name. My full given name is Brandon Campbell Diamond, and I just really like my full name, and most chances I go by that full name. When I signed up for YouTube several years ago, there were already several channels named Brandon Diamond, so I just went with Brandon Campbell. I think at the time, Brandon Campbell Diamond was too long of a channel name, so I just went with Brandon Campbell and Campbell Fitness, and it's just kind of stuck, and it's probably made it harder for some of you to find me out there, which maybe is a good thing, but spoiler alert, my last name is not Campbell. I'm sorry. A lot of you also said that sounds more like a stage name or a stripper name, but you guys should meet my dad, who I've also mentioned on the channel in the past. His name is Richard, but he goes by Dick, so you could be a Dick Diamond. I am the offspring of Dick Diamond. Sounds pretty legendary. I'll take it. So that was one of the biggest comments that I saw. The other ones were really in relation to the knee sleeves I wore. So a lot of people were wondering if those strong sleeves were now IPF approved because you didn't think they were. Well, unfortunately, they're still not approved. Neither was the Pioneer belt that I wore. So that customized Pioneer lifting belt was not IPF approved. But since this was a local USAPL meet, the rules are a little bit different. As long as everything met the IPF spec equipment, being knee sleeves not thicker than 7 millimeters, your belt's not thicker than 13, and so forth. It didn't have to be an approved vendor, it just had to be approved spec. So that's why I was able to wear those things. And since I train with them all the time, and plus they're from companies and friends that support me, I wanted to show that same support back. And plus it just matched my color outfit a little bit better, which is all that really matters in these competitions. Which, by the way, they should definitely give an award for best dressed, because I think I might have done a pretty good job. So that was another comment that I saw a lot of. Other comments were in regards to my bench. Why is it so bad? Why am I so weak in the bench? What happened to your bench, Brandon? Well, obviously this year has not been my year. Been dealing with some injuries, which I've never really dealt with in my 20 plus years of lifting. Some knee tendonitis earlier in the year, which affected my squat in the competition I did back in March in Columbus, Ohio. But then all year I've also been dealing with an AC joint issue, which has really limited my benching. I had to take 2 months off. I went to 8 weeks of physical therapy. And even my heaviest attempt at this last competition is still not up to par with what my openers were last year. So I'm not back to where I was. The good news is, though, my shoulder is feeling much, much better. And next training cycle, I'm assuming that I can go back to training in a normal style. So this last training cycle I just did, things were a little bit different. We played around with some things. I was benching 4 times per week, but I couldn't do a lot of volume and I couldn't go very heavy. So I think the most volume I ever did in a single session was like a 3x3, and the heaviest weight I lifted was like close to 300 pounds, and those are just for some singles. So the fact that I was still able to go into a competition, hit 314, while it is definitely more poverty than my already poverty bench, it was good for me and I'm happy with it, and I'm looking forward to next year getting back on track with my bench, because I think there's a lot of weight that I'm leaving on the platform. The last thing I just want to address, because it's the only thing I can really think of off the top of my mind, a lot of people mentioned my lack of emotion or how much I'm a robot. And that's just me. That's my personality. That's my style. I don't get that animated or amped up in training, so I don't see a reason to do so in competition. Now, obviously, I have a lot of friends out there who get really amped up. First name that comes to mind is Mark McQueen, my boy, kill it. But he trains like that. And obviously, you want to train like you compete. You practice like you play. You've heard all that stuff before, and I won't insert the Allen Iverson clip because I just did that like 2 videos ago. But I keep things the same. I don't get overly worked up with my lifts. For me, I just focus on what I have to do, and that kind of plays into why I don't bring a camera. I don't really worry about other things. I just worry about the task at hand. And because all of my attempts are attempts that I know I should be able to hit because of that's how my training program went, and that's why we built those attempts in. It's not a matter of knowing I can hit them. I know I can. It's just a matter of going out and executing, and that's just me. And if I were to kind of try to get amped up or get psyched up or, take ammonia tabs, I just think it wouldn't work out well because I'd probably end up laughing at myself because I just don't think it's that serious. That's just me though, however. So those are the things I want to talk about as far as your comments go. If I missed anything specifically, let me know in the comments of this one, and I'll try to address it. But as far as the meet itself goes, it went very well in my opinion, as good as I could ask. 9 for 9, 27 white lights, which is great. This is my 7th time I've competed overall. I think my 3rd USAPL meet, and I don't think I've ever gotten a single red light on depth in any 7 of those meets. So I'm happy about that because I know people give me flack all the time, and I laugh at it now just because even though I still do that, I still get flack for half squatting for some reason. Tears me up. I'm so sad, so hurt. So that was really good. I set new meet records for myself in both the squat by about 25 pounds, I think, and in the deadlift by about 18 pounds. So I'm very happy with those numbers. Obviously, I set a new meet total PR by about 32 pounds, so big win for me as well. And again, considering the fact that my bench was poverty and not where it should be, I'm very happy with that fact and looking forward to putting together an even better total at my next competition, which I'm not 100% sure of when that is going to be. I don't really have much feedback on the actual lifts. You saw everything for what they were. I did now just remember the fact many people asked about why I didn't get a lift off for bench. Really relates back to what I've already said. I don't train with anyone lifting off for me. And the last competition I had back in March in Columbus, Ohio, I had such a bad experience with the lift-off person where they pulled the bar so far up instead of out that it actually unracked my shoulders a little bit from the bench, and I just really wasn't happy with that. And I figured, yes, a lift-off can probably add to my bench some, but not as much as having a bad lift-off could potentially hurt my bench, which, as you guys already know, is poverty. So I didn't want to do that. Overall, I like that experience a lot, and I'll probably stick with that going forward, unless for some reason my training style changes where I get someone to hand it off for me, or I get one of the Rogue monolift attachments for this rack, and I'm able to kind of just take that handoff myself out of the monolift. We'll see, but chances are I'll probably stick to not taking a handoff in competition. Squats went well, bench went well. The only thing I really have to say is that deadlift third attempt, I really questioned going for 640. I know it was within my wheelhouse, again, based off my training, given the fact that I also pulled 655 recently on a deadlift bar, which makes a huge difference. But I knew the strength was there for it normally, but given the fact that, again, I hit a new PR in squats, standing around all day. I was also at that meet the previous day, standing around a lot. My lower back was really fatigued by that point. It's tough to say if you have the strength there in competition to do it. So I really thought about dropping it some. But again, I really looked back at, hey, look, this is the plan we set forward. Bryce thinks I can hit these numbers. I'm just going to put my trust in him. I went for it knowing that it was, again, within my wheelhouse. And it got up in some miraculous fashion. Definitely, if you take a look back at the video, I'll play it again right now, but right when it gets right below my knees, this is typically where my sticking point is. I definitely thought about dropping it, but just wanted to push through, and it went up, and I was happy. Well, obviously, given the emotion on my face, you can't tell that, but I was very happy that I did that, and again, very thankful for a great meet overall. I didn't manage to finish first, which I don't really care about because, again, it doesn't really matter, in my opinion, where you finish for the most part for these local meets because you never know who's going to show up. There could be some monster that shows up and just dominates you. But the fact that, again, I was able to increase my own total, that was the big win for me. And now it's just back to training and back to the next competition. Appreciate you guys sticking around for the ride. We'll talk to you soon. As always, stay big.